This is the primal scream of a dying regime.
Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people. You're just not got a free shot on all these networks lying about the people. The people have had a belly full of it. I know you don't like hearing that. I know you try to do everything in the world to stop that, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to happen.
And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media. I wish in my soul, I wish that any of these people had a conscience.
Ask yourself, what is my task and what is my purpose? If that answer is to save my country, this country will be saved.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, Thursday, 9 July in the year of our Lord 2026. We're going to go to Provo as soon as it starts. So you hear it gavel to gavel. Pacific, I guess they're going to run a little late this morning, so we're going to go as soon as it goes. Andy, one of my crack producers, has reached out to me during your segment and says, "Hey, look, would the Greeks take and support the Turks get the F-35s, but you got to pull out of Cyprus? Is that a deal you guys would support? And is that even something? Because look, you mentioned something about the Ottoman Empire. Trust me, the Turks look back at that and think that's the glory days. They don't want to hear, that's when they were top of the world, and they want Mecca and Medina. They want to be in control of it again, the two holy sites. They think that the House of Saud is kind of a group of Bedouin bandits. Sir, your thoughts?
So one, President Trump is great at negotiating and leverage. He has a leverage. He has something Turkey wants. Turkey, Greece, and Cyprus. Greece is formally an ally of Turkey in NATO. Cyprus is an EU member that has to sign off on Turkey's membership. So they clearly want good relations. So let's call them on it. Yes, it's not only they should pull completely out of Cyprus, completely. There is no reasoning. If Turkey wants to be a good ally, take those 40,000 occupation troops that you're using on Cyprus and have them fight true jihadists, which they did not do during ISIS's rise. And if they want to be an ally, with access, let's remember, access to American weapons is a privilege. It's not a right. I don't care what your status is. It's not a right. It's a privilege. And if they want to earn that privilege, they cannot use those weapons within the alliance against American allies. Turkey has pre-declared war on Greece. They have a casus belli threatening Greece with war if Greece exercises its rights under international law. President Trump should demand the cancellation of that casus belli. He should demand a cancellation of this blue homeland doctrine, which Turkey, in the greatest fictional geometry I've ever seen, claims that half the Aegean and half the Eastern Mediterranean belongs to it. It ignores the existence of Crete, which we have the southernmost NATO base on Crete. It ignores the existence of American rights, Exxon and Chevron in the waters of Greece and Cyprus. So those three, pull out of Cyprus, cancel the casus belli, cancel the blue homeland, and I think a deal could be made.
Are we not thinking about this? You've got these ancient civilizations, the Turks, which obviously came from the steppes. You have Persia, you have Egypt, you've got ancient Babylon, we got the Greeks. Do we not think, and should we get back to thinking of this strategically as kind of civilizational warfare? And we're so caught up in the daily news that we lose the sense that these almost permanent structures and processes and in societies, they all work at a different tempo. They all have, and if you talk to Persians, you talk to Egyptians, you talk to Turks, one thing I will tell you, in Greeks, they will go back and reference things from thousands of years ago like it happened yesterday. In America, is it too much? We're caught up in a news cycle and that's why the power of this 250th and the, what led us here and what we're trying to do on this show to make sure people know, hey, we have ancient roots too. Maybe not as ancient. She gave President Trump really the back of the hand in Beijing, where he gave the toast. He said, hey, we're 5,000 years. We hope this 250, we congratulate you on your 250, kid. We hope it works out for you, right? Like you're a junior partner. Are we not thinking enough about civilizational warfare here?
Well, we should be, because I think in the United States, and you correctly reference our founding fathers basing this republic on the ancient West. The U.S. is more the heir to ancient Greece and ancient Rome than anybody, including Greece and Italy. The fact is that people do reference past grievances, but some of those past grievances are not just past, they're prologue. When we talk about the genocides, the legacy of the genocides, the Christian genocides that the Ottoman Empire and the early Turkish Republic perpetrated, exists today. Cyprus is occupied for more than 50 years. It'll be 52 in 11 days, but the legacy of that going on to 6-decade occupation affects us today. So we should be paying attention to those who are using civilization warfare. Erdogan is. There are other leaders in Turkey, and there are a lot of secular Turks and Western leaning Turks who don't do that. But we should not be rewarding the ones who the Ayatollahs, whoever else, who are leaning into civilizational warfare and getting us involved in conflicts to score some holy text points under some holy text.
Hang on for 1 second. We talk about civilizational warfare, the civilization of the West under attack. Let's go ahead and play the trailer for this, hundreds of millions of dollar film that's coming to IMAX, I think next week. Let's go ahead and play it. So, Andy, this is the most anticipated epic of the summer and probably this year. It deals with the great general Odysseus, or Ulysses, in his journey home at the end of the Trojan War, which he was a major part of the strategy, particularly at the end, of how to get to victory. But what they don't show there is the controversy, the woke nature of some of the casting and some of the language that's used and some of the reinterpretation of this. Your thoughts as a gentleman and a scholar, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to our discussion about the books, right? We have the original source material. I don't think we should be dumbing down, and it is disappointing to hear that maybe some casting decisions were made based on identity features so they can qualify for an Oscar. It turns out that the casting decision or the who was going to play Achilles, that turned out to be incorrect, or playing another Greek soldier. But just think about Achilles. You talk about Emily Wilson, and the Iliad begins with "Sing goddess of the rage of Achilles." Incidentally, I thought Brad Pitt did a great job in Troy. Homer teaches us more about just a story. These epics are teaching us about human nature and some timeless wisdom. So I'd like that I have no problem with. I love the Kitty Pryde character of Ellen Page, but if I was going to pick in X-Men, but if I was going to pick a Greek warrior from X-Men, it'd probably be Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I'm a little more upset that there are no Greeks cast in here. Matt Damon's not Greek. I love Matt Damon. I love Matt Damon. I would actually bring in the whole Ocean's 11 cast in. George Clooney should be in it.
I'm so not a Matt Damon or Clooney, but however, let's go to that point. I don't think that are there any Greeks cast in this, particularly of the warrior, of the generals, the field commanders of Agamemnon. Are there any Greeks?
There weren't any Greeks in this. There weren't any Greeks in the 300, and I think they're missing. Yeah, that's a missed opportunity by Christopher Nolan, especially as Greece has over the last decade become a destination for Hollywood, and it used to be far more restricted.
Are you saying that Nolan was forced to do this because of the Academy considerations that we have to be woke with your casting, and because I think there's a black woman that is cast, I believe, as Helen of Troy. But more importantly, either Elliot Page or Ellen Page. Ellen Page in the world, but you guys call them what you want. You know, the little girl that was in Juno, it was rumored she was going to be Achilles, but now I guess she's one of the other warriors, but she still plays a Greek warrior because of this affinity Hollywood has for promoting transgenderism. Is that an affront to the Greek people, since this is the great classic, the two great classics of Greek civilization that has been handed down along with the Holy Bible and along with the Aeneid and others as the great traditions of the Christian West?
Listen, we have the source material, right? There's an importance to be consistent with the source material. Like, I don't know the exact warrior she's playing, and we know that in Greece there were homosexual warriors. The Thebes had the sacred band, but if Achilles was going to be portrayed, it should be portrayed with the rage that Homer talks about. I don't know which casting speculation is true or not, so I'll wait to see the movie. But the speculation that in the attempt to get an Oscar, they're going to cast. They're going to take certain standards for casting is disappointing. We have an opportunity to tell the story.
This is not about homosexuality. I mean, you got Alcibiades, right, in Plato and the Symposium. I mean, and they talk about the different types of love, and of course, with Sparta, they had different traditions back then. But this is not that. This is that you can be anything you want. Anyway, Andy, hang on for 1 second. I want to finish.
Yeah, sure.
Waiting for the think about it, folks. We're discussing here about the Odyssey. It's a big part of the conversation. Like I said, I never thought that the great Charlie Kirk ever had the phrase the great Charlie Kirk assassination and a love story among grown men who are furries. It boggles the mind. It just boggles the mind. Grown men. Pretty much about
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Andy, before we let you go, tell us about the council. Tell us what you guys do. Are you going to, for instance, protest no Greeks in the? I can't believe that.
I'm actually. So you know what? What I'm going to do.
Greeks.
What I'm going to do, if they want to keep Greeks out, I love Phil Hellenes, the lovers of Greeks. So you're one. So we're gonna try to get you cast as a god in the follow up and Boyle,
that's not
and Boyle,
I'm
and we're
not
gonna
Brad
get Matthew
Pitt.
Boyle. We're gonna get Matthew Boyle as Hermes.
Okay, no, we don't. Yeah, if you're gonna do 9 Greeks, let's get a bunch of mix. Let's get a bunch of hammerhead mix in there. Right.
No, what we do at the Hellenic American Leadership Council, Steve, we are going again back to our founding fathers. We're dedicated to the idea that this bilateral relationship, which is more than a government to government relationship, it's the people. The people have been close. The founding fathers were not only influenced by ancient Greeks. They influenced the first modern Greek state. Thomas Jefferson and Athanasios Korais, the founder of the modern Greek education system, had letters back and forth. We can go on. The Americans went and fought in the Greek War of Independence against the Ottoman Empire and died. And really made a decisive contribution. Greece, October 28th, Greece, is the only country in the world that celebrates its entry into World War II. They gave the first major resistance, the first defeat to the Axis powers, and FDR and even Stalin said that if the Greeks had not done that, the outcome of World War II might have been different. And the U.S. helped rebuild Greece after a brutal Nazi occupation. The two peoples, Greek Americans, have made countless contributions to the United States. And right now, across all levels, this is the best relationship we've ever had. Greece is a reliable ally. That everything that the U.S. That we say we want out of an ally, access to bases, NATO spending, but cracking down on terrorism, business friendly, that has been a huge transformation. Chevron and Exxon and GE and American companies are thriving. Oracle and Microsoft are opening up Southeast European headquarters in Thessaloniki. So this is we really believe the closer we can make not only Washington and Athens, but Chicago and Thessaloniki, and the people and the students. And, we've had an NBA MVP from Greece, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and we've had American players who are the stars of Greece's basketball teams. And Greece's basketball team, Olympiakos, which I'm a big fan of, just won the Euro Final Four. So the closer we can bring our people, and I think you're right, the classics are part of it. Tourism is at a record high. Investments are in record high. The closer we bring our two people, the more our national interests and the West benefit.
Yeah. I honored to be a close friend of Barrick's, but also Kimberly Guilfoyle. And when Kimberly had a range of opportunities she was looking at, I was the biggest advocate. You got to take Greece. If Greece is available, you got to take it. It's strategic. It punches way above its weight. But more importantly, I said that Eastern Mediterranean is going to be one of the big areas of focus. If we're ever going to have peace anywhere, you have to start with that. And she's done a terrific job, and I know she absolutely loves the job. And it also shows you the importance. She had many other opportunities to choose from, but President Trump really wanted her there. So that speaks of the focus of President Trump. And like you said, I don't think the relationship's ever been better. Boyle's over there all the time. We have big news. We're going to announce, I think, of something we're going to do in the region, probably in September sometime. But we'll come back to the audience in the next couple of days. Where do folks go to find out more, and most importantly, to get your reading list, and anything you want to push out, we'll push out here. So where do folks go?
Well, okay, I'll start putting out reading lists on my X handle, which is @Zemanitis, and they can always go to our site HellenicLeaders.com to learn more about the issues. But I really do think on America's 250th anniversary, if we recommit to this historic relationship between the peoples, the American nation, the Greek nation, and the timeless wisdom that has come from both, we'll be better off. And let's not forget, because you brought it up, let's not forget that in 11 days, we are marking the 52nd straight year of the Turkish occupation of Cyprus. And as people talk about occupations, whether it's in Ukraine or in the Middle East, one of the reasons we have some of these wars is we let perpetrators of crimes like Cyprus get away with it for more than 5 decades.
Andy, thank you so much. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, Steve.
So everybody goes over. Thank you. Boy, Boyle delivered on that one. That was amazing. Fascinating. Want to thanks. We get so much to go through. There's one of the most important things. Let's talk signal, not noise. It's because there's so much noise out there right now. The effort of John Solomon and Pulte and these others that are working towards getting, they're there for declassification, but get to the bottom of the stolen election of 2020 and other aspects of that. They're beavering away, and of course the left is losing it right now. You just have to understand, if they can't steal it, they can't win. The demographic shift, this is the shift to the South and the Southwest, and even the Intermountain West of people moving to this, and particularly my beloved South. They're pouring into the South, and people got to watch that. Or you're going to lose what makes the South so special. They just announced, I think in a couple of days, they're going to launch the Texas Stock Exchange down in Dallas. And it's just like, Elon moving down to, was it Brownsville, or Austin becoming a tech center. As I say, that old saying, there are more tears shed for answered prayers than for unanswered. So watch what you pray for and watch what you want, because to say it in the vernacular of the South, you're going to get just a bunch of Yankees down there that want to change everything. It's like California came to Texas. So you just got to watch this. That being said, the growth is explosive. And you can see that from Tennessee to Alabama to Mississippi to Georgia, Florida, Texas, Arkansas. I mean, this is where companies want to go. This is why. I think it's the people, not just the natural resources and the beauty of the South, but it's the people. They're also flooding into places like Arizona and the Intermountain West. Of course, there are many Southerners there post-Civil War, right? And the other migrations we've had in the country. This is why these demographic shifts and these shifts are taking place. And we would have been here quicker if Stephen Miller and Stephen K. Bannon's plan for the 2020 census had been executed by the Communist Party. It was not. And once again, President Trump got terrible information, and we made a bad decision. Just a bad decision. So that's that census, because we allowed illegal aliens to be counted, which should never happen. Should never happen. That's all from the people who are the new John C. Calhouns, the Nullification Project, which they just nullify any federal law that does not support their efforts to destroy this country. And this is why you have to meet fire with fire. We have to move with alacrity. This is my issue with John Thune and these folks in the Senate. The United States Senate right now, controlled by Republicans, is treating President Trump with no respect and treat him like a lame duck. We say, well, Steve, that's pretty harsh. Okay, to prove that you're not, just take 1 day of official recess. Don't send the Kabuki theater over for one guy to sit up there and say, we're in session, when they got one senator in town and nothing's happening. You're gone for 10 or 15 days. Give President Trump 1 day. Why won't they do that? Mitch McConnell decreed and declared back in the first term when President Trump and Mitch McConnell would have never been in power if it was not for President Trump. This was the arrogance of McCain. Remember, McCain came back off his deathbed to, in the middle of the night, screw President Trump on that first big effort he had to take care of Obamacare. Remember that? That's the arrogance. The Senate and the leadership in the Senate, they hate Trump. They can come out to the microphone and do all the glazing they want. It's an open secret in this town they hate him. And it's an open secret of how they plot against him and to stop the MAGA agenda from going through. I might add that because of the House incompetence and the Senate incompetence, would just take your number 2 pencil and write this down. We're going to a CR. I don't know when they get back from recess, sometime in September. We're going to a CR that we're going to approve the Pelosi-Biden thing one more time, because they haven't done, forget the single subject, they haven't done the appropriations, but I think they've still done military construction and veterans. They haven't gotten anything else. So we're going to have a CR. You're going to have a government shutdown, which I say bring it. Nothing could be better in the run-up. You want to fire up the grassroots. You want to have a massive turnout of your people. Shut the government down. Say we're not going to do this anymore. We can't do it. The deficits are too big. We're printing too much money. It's having an impact on the dollar. Don't think so? Then go to Birch Gold. Now, birchgold.com/Bannon, end of the dollar empire. Learn all about it. Learn the history of populism. Learn the history of fiat currency. The history of the United States dollar is the backbone of the international financial system, the international economic system. The thing that gives us a big old hammer in a place like Iran right now. How about this? Total sanctions. No cash for food. No cash for food. Oh, you're so cold and hard. It's called war, baby. We're going to be at war. Let's not play games. Let's get to war. Let's do it. full-scale economic war, total sanctions, no money, no food.
Good morning. Thank you for the party's patience. Court is now in session. Calling case number 251-403-576, State of Utah versus Tyler James Robinson. Counsel, please enter your appearances.
Chad Grunander, Ryan McBride, Lauren Hunt, David Sturgill, Chris Ballard. For the state, County Attorney Jeff Gray also present.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Kathy Nestor, Richard Novak, Michael Burt, and Stacy Visser here for Mr. Robinson, who's seated at council table.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Robinson. And for the record, the court also recognizes the presence of Ms. Erica Kirk. Good morning, Ms. Kirk. All right, as you've probably come to expect, I do need to read the following as it relates to today's preliminary hearing. The court is mindful of the safety and well-being of all parties, counsel, witnesses, court staff, and members of the public who may be present. The court is also mindful of its duty to protect and uphold the constitutional rights of both Mr. Robinson and Ms. Kirk. To serve those important interests, the court reminds all persons who will be in attendance that portable electronic devices will not be permitted in the courtroom or on the fourth floor. And this prohibition does not apply to legal counsel and support staff for the defense or the state or the media in this matter, or the equipment permitted under any electronic controlling electronic media coverage order, and includes the counsel for victim representative Ms. Kirk. I do ask the parties, the attorneys, if you will join me in turning off your ringer to ensure that we do not have any interruptions. So I am turning off my ringer, and I invite you to do the same. Every person who is in attendance today and every day will be afforded the dignity and respect due to them, and pursuant to the standing decorum order by the court, all spectators shall be quiet, civil, and orderly. Spectators shall not engage in any distracting, disruptive, provocative, disrespectful, uncivil, or threatening behavior of any kind. Spectators shall not make any audible comments of any kind, shall not shake or nod their heads, shall not otherwise make any gestures during the hearing. Spectators shall not wear or display pins, buttons, signs, clothing, or photographs expressing support for or against any person related to this case or to the status of this case as a capital offense. All right. As we begin this morning, I wish to I've taken a lot of time to think about the comments made by the parties yesterday, and there were additional briefings and a motion filed last night, and the court took the necessary time to readdress it and look at it and be prepared for this morning's proceedings. While I recognize especially how precious our time is, I also recognize that I need to be prepared for everything that's before me. And I took the time this morning to review what was filed since we adjourned yesterday until we've came back on record. One of the motions filed last night was filed by Ms. Erica Kirk's attorney, and I wish to address that. And I realize that the parties may not have had a chance for defense or prosecution had a chance to respond to that. And before I address that, I wish to turn the time to you if you need the benefit of the record as it relates to what was filed by the attorney for victim representative Erica Kirk to the state.
Good morning, Your Honor. Christopher Ballard on behalf of the state. We have reviewed that filing, and we believe that it fully accords with our position in our filing this morning that publishing exhibits to the courtroom is entirely appropriate and indeed honors the victim representative's right to be present in at this hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard. To defense, Mr. Novak.
Thank you, Your Honor. I read the pleading. I believe that every order that this court has made to date complies with and respects the victim's rights under the Utah Constitution. I think that the rulings that the court has made the last few days do so, and I don't believe that the issues that are presently before the court going forward with the hearing with respect to exhibits in what I'll just call the 16 series interfere with any of the enumerated rights set forth in the Utah Constitution concerning the rights of a victim representative in any criminal proceeding. So that's our position. And I want to also be very mindful of timing issues because we spent a lot of time arguing without the court having the benefit of briefing yesterday. But we have witnesses we have to get to, including a defense witness who is not available after tonight. So I could, of course, as Your Honor knows, say much more, but the court has all the briefing, and I think we should move forward.
Thank you. And as it relates to transparency and publication, does the news media wish to be heard on this issue?
Only briefly, Your Honor. I've also reviewed the submission from yesterday. The court has always set this three-step process, and I think taking each of those stages, admissibility, publication to the courtroom, and coverage by the in-court cameras are three separate inquiries. Of course, the media believes, the media will be the party who stands here at this lectern and says, we believe we should see as much as possible. We're maximalist in that way, while recognizing the importance of protecting all the rights, including fair trial rights. But the idea of publishing something, of keeping something off of the cameras at the rear of the courtroom, but publishing it to those who are present here also is a meaningful step towards transparency. And to the extent that the court is not comfortable with placing something on the video feed, the media does believe that allowing the media representatives who are here and the members of the public who are here to view that, even if those watching on the live stream cannot, is a meaningful victory for transparency, and we, of course, support that.
Thank you. All right.
Your Honor, the state would like to be heard on the briefing, briefly.
For?
The briefing that was submitted last night.
All right, so I want to address the motion filed by the attorney for the victim representative, and then we'll transition to that. I'm just trying to do it incrementally so we can get it all addressed. So in regards to that, and I appreciate the position of the parties, it is important for me to hear all sides. Article 1, Section 28 of the Utah Constitution recognizes important rights afforded to victims and victims' representatives, including the right to be treated with fairness, respect, and dignity, and the right to be present and heard at critical stages of the proceedings. The court acknowledges the concerns raised in the motion regarding transparency and the ability to meaningfully observe the evidence presented during this hearing. At the same time, the court has an independent obligation to manage these proceedings in a manner that safeguards the rights of all parties. That includes honoring the rights of victims and victims' representatives while preserving the defendant's constitutional rights including the right to a fair and impartial process. The court has considered the request that exhibits be displayed in real time to the courtroom. After careful consideration, the court determines that not all exhibits will be visually displayed to the gallery, and notes that it will use a tiered method as described. First, whether it will be admitted to the court for consideration as it relates to probable cause. Second, whether it will be displayed only to the gallery. And third, if it will be published through the camera to the public at large. This ruling is not intended to diminish the significance of the victim's representative rights or concerns. Rather, it reflects the court's responsibility to regulate the presentation of evidence in a manner consistent with the integrity of the proceedings and the fair trial rights implicated in this manner. The manner in which evidence is displayed remains in the court's discretion. That discretion must be exercised in a manner that is appropriate and appropriately balances Mr. Robinson's constitutional rights, Ms. Kirk's rights as a victim representative, and the court's obligation to conduct the proceedings that are fair, orderly, and appropriately transparent. Transparency is an important principle, but it must be maintained in a manner consistent with the constitutional rights and protections afforded to all parties. The court does not make a blanket ruling as it relates to any exhibit, and as previously stated, each exhibit will be afforded its own due in weighing whether it shall be published to the courtroom or beyond or not. And that concludes the court's ruling on that motion. All right, counsel, the last matter as it relates to the briefing, I'll hear that, and there is a slight edit to, and I'm not sure when the state wishes to publish State's Exhibit 16. So turning to the state, do you wish to be heard about the motions filed last night prior to the publication of Exhibit 16? Again, it's your choice on how you move forward. I just want to see which order you want to go.
We do want to be heard on the briefing from last night, and specifically about Exhibit 16. I'm understanding Your Honor has an additional edit to that. Is that correct? I
do, and there might be value in hearing that, so that may or may not change your positions. So let me just put that on the record, okay, and then I'll hear from you. I just want to make sure you're able to be afforded everything. So as it relates to the edits, last night, I believe it was between 6 minutes and 57 seconds and 20 minutes and 29 seconds, which is not to be played, and then 32 minutes and 55 seconds to 35 minutes and 47 seconds, which is not to be played. And I believe that what I received reflects that. And is that the understanding of the parties?
Yes.
All right. The state has said yes to the defense. I'm not saying if you agree with it. I'm just saying, does it reflect the timestamps?
May I have a moment?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Judge. I think, Your Honor, and then let's just see what the court is referring to.
Well, I'm asking, did you receive a copy of the edited video?
Okay, so I'll answer that question directly. The state sent us a copy of the edited video. The redactions of the audio were exactly as the court ordered, but we noticed that the video, which followed, ended up being inconsistent with the redactions of the audio. So I brought that to the state's attention last night. I believe that they ultimately forwarded to the court what I'll call version 2 of the redactions, which redacts the video that would have made the audio redactions sort of superfluous or ineffective. So that's sort of where we are. But we may be not communicating with each other about the same issue. I'm not sure.
Well, okay, I just want to make sure that in regards to what was to be cut out comports with those timestamps I just gave.
It does. Plus, the parties believe that additional video needed to be cut out to match the court's intentions with respect to the audio.
Right, and this is what I'm going to next. Mr. Ballard?
Yes, Your Honor. I think we're on the same page. We did, in conjunction with discussions with the defense, first of all, we prepared the redacted video as Your Honor ordered. Then after discussing with the defense, we prepared a second version that still maintained the audio redactions as the court ordered, but we took out the video portions that the defense brought to our attention.
All right, and I didn't see that, but here, and this is the court's own independent finding after spending significant time last night reviewing it. So I'm requesting a video-only redaction between 20 minutes and 29 seconds and 25 minutes and 23 seconds. And so what I looked at was what was on screen. So any video showing anything other than Mr. McBride and Lance Twiggs was to be redacted, with the exception of the screenshots of the images pulled from the surveillance video and the FBI bulletin, which I believe was also briefly displayed.
I think we're all on the same page, based on what the court just said.
Your Honor, I think we have just a 1 second difference. Our timestamp is 25:22 of the additional edited version, but I think it still omits the video portion that we're discussing.
All right, well, it is a good day when we are literally on the same page. I'm glad that within 1 second we are all in agreement about this. So that the court, and it sounds like you're one step ahead of the court. I was just going to say that if you had it, you simply turn off the monitor for that section. But if you've already made that change, then all the better. There are 2 additional changes as well. And this is very short, and so I'll leave it to the state if you wish to just in real time pause and fast forward or wish to redact it. I'll leave it to you. So the additional requested audio and visual redaction, so this is not to be played whatsoever, is 27 minutes, 18 seconds to 27 minutes and 25 seconds. And the second is 28 minutes and 11 seconds to 28 minutes and 18 seconds.
Your Honor, just to make sure that we've got that correct, the additional redactions would be 27 minutes and 18 seconds to 27 minutes and 25 seconds.
Correct for the first one.
And then 28 minutes and 11 seconds to 28 minutes and 18 seconds?
Yes.
And Your Honor, while we're talking about additional redactions, let me approach. When Your Honor made his ruling yesterday afternoon, it wasn't entirely clear the basis for these redactions that the court proposed. The state's understanding was that those additional redactions were based on the potential that the video 1102 would be showing duplicative evidence and would be displaying evidence that would be duplicative of future exhibits. And then also potentially a concern about admissions by the defendant. Portions that the court has ordered to be redacted do not have any of those concerns as far as the state's view of that evidence. And I would like to be able to point the court to those. We've got 2 brief portions that we believe don't implicate those concerns and should not be redacted.
All right.
Does Your Honor have the transcript?
I do.
In front of you? Okay. First of all, at the very, very bottom of page 10, beginning with the words, "was he," and then over to page 11, down to timestamp 1646. That portion is not cumulative of additional exhibits, and it contains nothing that could be classified as an admission by the defendant. That's the first portion.
So going back to page 10, I don't see "was he" at the bottom. Where are you? How many lines from the bottom up are you referring to? You may. Oh, I see. Right here. Okay, now I see what you're saying. I missed that. I was looking at the beginning of the line, but I see your point. Okay. So from "was he" on page 10 until
16, the timestamp 1646 on page 11.
Okay.
That's the first portion. And then the second portion that we would ask not be redacted is a small portion of page 19. And it begins, let's see. It would be the fifth paragraph down, Mr. McBride stating "okay," and then ending at timestamp 3340. Again, that's not cumulative of any anticipated exhibit, and nor does it refer to any admission by the defendant.
Thank you.
Have you heard?
Yes, you may.
Thank you, Your Honor. With respect to the first of the two portions that Mr. Ballard referenced, I want to be totally transparent with the court, of course, that was not a section that we asked the government to agree to redact. That is a section that the court independently determined was appropriate for redaction under the various principles that the court has enunciated. So I just want to be transparent about that.
Thank you.
The second portion that Mr. Ballard addressed, which is on page 19, we did suggest, and it is in our highlighted, redacted transcript,
See that?
and the court agreed with us. This is not relevant. This is not admissible under 403. I don't understand how this questioning by Mr. McBride and the answers to these questions by Mr. Twiggs, and now I'm going to quote the Utah Rule of Evidence, has any tendency in reason to make a fact of consequence more or less true. That's the relevance question. So I understand that the court has said, I can make determinations of which portions of this transcript to rely upon, but from my perspective, what the state is asking the court to do is to broadcast a portion of the transcript which we are saying is not relevant, and to the extent it has any relevance, is significantly outweighed by undue prejudice.
All right.
I am not Mr. Twiggs' representative, but I think as a witness, who has counsel, there might be something that Mr. Twiggs' counsel would want to say about this as well. I don't know what it would be, but my firmly held belief is it would be consistent with what I'm saying, which is that it is neither relevant nor probative of anything of significance, especially in compared to the undue prejudice. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Novak. Mr. Ballard.
Thank you, Your Honors. Mr. Novak recognized Mr. Twiggs was represented during this statement. His counsel knew that this was being prepared to be produced in court, and his counsel made no objections to this part of the interview. And this is critically relevant. It provides important foundational information about Mr. Twiggs and identifying information about him, and then also it's very relevant to the enhancement that we have charged.
All right. Thank you. Anything further before the court rules on these two requests? All right. In reviewing the first section, again, citing to page 10, and I know it is, to anyone listening, this may not make sense when I'm saying page 10, but it's roughly just a few seconds after 1539 on the video, starting with "was he," and ending at 1646 with the last word "asking." After hearing and considering what has been argued, the court agrees that this, in applying a balancing test and as it relates to transparency, to ensure the court is taking a very narrow approach in what is or is not published to the public, that this is permissible. It doesn't run afoul of the issues that the court addressed previously, that the court is trying to avoid by publishing portions. And in addition to that, independently of the court's decision-making, it appears that the parties also agree as it relates to the first requested edit to unredact or to allow in. So I am ruling that that may be played and published through all mediums in a courtroom and via video. Turning to the second section, this is page 19. It is roughly right after 3327, going to just before 3340.
Sorry, Your Honor, just to clarify, what we asked was just before 3307.
3307?
Correct, yeah. Yes. Right after 3255, where
All right.
Mr. McBride states, okay.
I see. Thank you. Let me just take a quick second to review this. In relation to that request from right after 3255, starting with okay, is that the spot you're talking about, Mr. Ballard?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And specifically to 3327, the court stands by its original ruling. That is not, there are several reasons why the court